Greetings to everyone. I welcome you for IABS IAS Academy Current Affairs Channel IABS IAS News Bureau. Today we are going to discuss about the Hindu news analysis dated on 24th August 2020. And we are going to discuss about four different articles. Let I start with the foremost article that talks about vaccine for COVID, which is going to be released by two prime pharmaceutical companies. One is developed by Bharat Biotech in collaboration with ICMR, and another is Cedars Canada. These two vaccines said to be already going into market by August 15, but we are not able to complete that deadline. As per the latest report, which is given by ICMR Director Balram Bhargav, he is saying that two indigenous vaccines. Actually, we have three COVID-19 vaccine candidates. Out of which these two is already in phase one, that is human trial. It is going to complete it soon, and it is going to move to phase two, which means we can able to expect this particular vaccine is going to come into the picture by this year end. And adding to this report, the Serum Institute of India, which is partnered with AstraZeneca for manufacturing the vaccine developed by University of Oxford, has been permitted to conduct its phase 2 trial and three human clinical trial in India. Apex Research Body, which is headed by ICMR, is in process of developing an online vaccine portal which will provide information related to vaccine development in India and abroad. The aim of this particular website creation is to provide all information and updates regarding and related to the development of vaccine on a single platform. And now we can move on to the next important article, which is given in editorial column of today's newspaper, which talks about India's food insecurity. The report has been having support from the data which is being released from State of Food Security and Nutrition Involved. That is SOFI report. This report developed for India retains dubious distinction of being a country with the largest population of food insecure people. And it has been released by several United Nations organizations shows that the prevalence of food insecurity increased by 3.8 percentage points in India between 2014 to 2019. And the Soviet report, which is published annually, presents the most authoritative evaluation of hunger and food security in India. The two important parameters which are taken in this particular report are: first one is conventional measure, that is called prevalence of undernourishment, that is simply they are calling it as POU. A new measure called prevalence of moderate and severe food insecurity, that is PMSFI. Both of these parameters are considered as a global parameters and thought to check the progress of sustainable development goal target 2.1 to end hunger and food security in India. This POU, that is prevalence of undernourishment, is focused on estimating the proportion of population facing chronic deficiency of calories, and PMFSI, that is prevalence of moderate and severe food insecurity, is more comprehensive measure of the lack of access to adequate and nutritious foods. PMSFI uses the food insecurity experience scale, that is a gold standard in food security measurement, which is developed by Food and Agricultural Organizations of United Nations for estimating global comparable prevalence rate. Apart from that, FAO, that is Food Organization Research, and GWP, that is Gallup World Poll, surveys are conducted in India. India is among the few countries that do not allow publication of estimates based on these surveys. Consequently, as in the past year, estimate of PMSFI for India are not published in SOFI. And one more thing that we need to keep in mind in this particular context is India has not released the latest national sample survey of its consumption expenditure survey for the year 2017. As the result, the conventional measures of poverty and food consumption are not available for a recent year. Lack of availability of the data from the consumption survey also has its implication for FAO's prevalence of undernourishment estimate for India. And here they are ending with a particular topic called costings of survey. Why it is needed, why this contest need to be discussed in this particular point of time. There's a significant rise in food insecurity as is shown by these data is a clear manifestation of overall economic distress during this period marked by deepening agrarian crisis, falling investments across the sector, and sinking employment opportunity. Added to it, unemployable rate in the recent year has been higher than in the last 4 decades. And it is widely believed that demonetization and introduction of GST were two prime causes of economic distress during this particular period. And the sudden imposition of unprecedented and prolonged lockdown in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic has brought renewed focus on the problem of hunger and food insecurity. Apart from that, the number of starvation deaths has also been reported in the media is keep on rising. If it is critical for India to conduct a national survey on food insecurity to assess the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on food security and different sections of the population. That's all related to this particular article. Now we can move on to the next important article. This article is talking about the independence of India without depending on Chinese firms with respect to our military requirements. Indirectly and directly, we are dependent on Chinese products for our indigenous, for our defense sector. Despite the approval against the use of Chinese products amid the border and standoff in eastern Ladakh and government decision to ban several apps, government officials say it is not possible to fully decouple the trend due to the substantial investment by Chinese companies in India in various sectors. The intelligence assessment have positioned for the direct and indirect link. Many companies have with the People Liberation Army of China. And there are the Chinese investment are quite substantial. It is impossible to completely block them in Indian sector. As per the national report of US Secretary of Defense to the Congress on military and security development involving the People Republic of China, that is 2019, that whatever be the company which are coming under Chinese domain, that may be Huawei, ZTE, or ETOP, to support and provide assistance and to cooperate in Chinese national intelligence work wherever they require. As per the Article 7 of the law, states any organization or a citizen shall support, assist, and cooperate with the state in intelligence work in accordance with this law, which means the state protect individuals and organizations that support, assist, and cooperate with national intelligence work. It is the direct security implication for all the overseas foreign direct investment companies which are located in India, and it is getting some sort of support from China. And there is a major company called China Electronic Technology Group Corporation, that is CETEC. They are also providing technology used for human right abuse in Zhejiang, where around 1 million are held in re-education camps, assessment noted. Apart from this aspect, they have raised the red flags in Chinese investment in Indian technology startups too. The US and China Economic and Security Review Commission, USMCM Commission, said it in 2019 report. The Chinese government military civil fusion policy aims to spark the innovation economic growth through an array of policies and other governmental support mechanisms, including venture capital funds, while leveraging the fruits of civilian innovation for Chinese defense sector. Now we can move on to the next important article, which talks about Chinese has been already started vaccinating people since 2020, July 22, as per the official report. Even they have not yet even a single approved vaccination which can be used in the armed forces and employees of companies who are working overseas on built and road initiative projects. Apart from that, they are already in this report. They are also saying that they had 8 different vaccine companies which are under the clinical trial, and none of them has been approved by any governmental health departments. The vaccines have been administered in 2 doses, which with with one to another with a subsequent interval of 1 month. And there is no accurate figure given by Chinese military about the mass vaccination which has been released so far. Further, due to this winter, the people who are going to get this vaccination may be in search. People who are working in food market and transport system and service sectors will be also being avoided to use this particular vaccine even before it has been approved by any governmental body or health department. Those who have previously tested positive for COVID will not be among the early group. And the cost of the vaccine is estimated that 1,000 yuan or 10,800 for 2 shots. And this particular vaccine is given by a particular company called Sinopharm, may be given a green light for marketing by end of this year, which is dependent on the progress of the last stage of clinical trial overseas. This particular company has already signed an MOU with Peru, Morocco, and Argentina for trial 2. And the last article that we are going to discuss in today's news analysis is related to editorial, which talks about women uninterpreted, which means due to this COVID situation, the problem which is faced by women, ramification of this pandemic disrupted the healthcare services, which is much more required for women of our country. The restrictions of flowing from control measure and access of medical services has denied the women from getting the essential medical services like access to contraception and abortion services that is much more required for our group. A global report of inability to access the contraceptives and abortion services during the long lockdown warns their dire consequences, including unwanted pregnancy, increase in domestic violence, and maternal mortality. The survey, which is done by Mary Stopes International MSI, said about 2 million women missed out on services between January and June, which leads to 1.3 million were in India alone. According to WHO report, 67% of the reports disrupted in Indian family planning and contraception services. And UNFPA projected indicates 47 million women in 114 low and middle income countries would be unable to use the modern contraceptives if an average lockdown continued for more than 6 months with major disruption to the services, including health services. And an additional 7 million unintended pregnancies are expected to occur so far. At the heart of this issue, that is a major silver lining of this issue, is a bulk of healthcare services shifting to cater to COVID related emergency and lockdown disruption. India has listed abortion as an essential service, even though the transportation service hampered the access to the centers of care and lack of awareness among the services being availed during the services was a major factor for this turbulence. An emergency, and even if it is considered as an emergency, that's allowed to remain open even during intense lockdown. At most 30% of the respondents seeking an abortion said that the cleaning in that area was closed, according to the MSI report. And the study, which is done in 6 states by a foundation for reproductive health services in India, showed the severe shortage of medical abortion drugs in pharmacies too. The need for contraceptive services remained high in India, with over 1 in 3 women reporting a need for contraceptive advice as per the MSI study. Providing uninterrupted abortion and contraceptive counseling, devices, and healthcare are essential to safeguard the reproductive right of women and to protect them from abuse. The services must continue through the measures such as telemedicine, incentive to local clinic, and to open their doors, resolving drug supply chain disruption, beside improving access to the health care. And this is an end of this today current affair discussion. Thanks for listening. IABS IAS News Bureau.